Now when Solomon came to the end of building the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all Solomon's desires which he had in mind were effected, the Lord came to him again in a vision, as he had done at Gibeon. And the Lord said to him, Your prayers and your requests for grace have come to my ears. I have made holy this house which I have made, and I have put my name there forever. My eyes and my heart will be there at all times. As for you, if you go on your way before me, as David your father did, uprightly and with a true heart, doing what I have given you orders to do, keeping my laws and my decisions, then I'll make the seed of your rule over Israel certain forever, as I give my word to David your father, saying, You'll never be without a man to be king in Israel. But if you turn from my ways, you or your children, and do not keep my orders and my laws which I have put before you, but go and make yourselves servants to other gods and give them worship, then I'll have Israel cut off from the land which I've given them. And this house, which I've made holy for myself, I put away from before my eyes. And Israel will be a public example and a word of shame among all peoples. And this house will become a mass of broken walls, and everyone who goes by will be overcome with wonder at it and make whistling sounds. And they will say, Why has the Lord done so this land and to this house? And their answer will be, Because they were turned away from the Lord their God, who took their fathers out of the land of Egypt. They took for themselves other gods and gave them worship and became their servants. That is why the Lord has sent all this evil on them. Now at the end of 20 years, in which time Solomon had put up the two houses, the house of the Lord and the king's house, Hiram, king of Tyre, had given Solomon cedar trees and cypress trees and gold, as much as he had need of. King Solomon gave Hiram 20 towns in the land of Galilee. But when Hiram came from Tyre to see the towns which Solomon had given him, he was not pleased with them. And he said, What sort of towns are these which you have given me, my brother? So they were named the land of Kabul to this day. And Hiram sent the king 120 talents of gold. Now, this was the way of Solomon's system of forced work for the building of the Lord's house and of the king's house, and the Millo, and the wall of Jerusalem, and Megiddo, and Jezer. Pharaoh, Egypt's king, had attacked and captured Jezer, setting it on fire. He killed the Canaanites who lived in the city and gave it as a dowry to his daughter Solomon's wife. Solomon built Jezer, Lower Beth Horon, Baalath, and Tamar in the wilderness within the land, along with all the stored cities that belonged to Solomon, as well as the cities used for storing chariots and cavalry, and whatever he wanted to build in Jerusalem, Lebanon, and throughout his kingdom. Any non-Israelite people who remained of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, that is, descendants of such people who were still in the land because the Israelites were able to wipe them out, Solomon forced into the labor gangs that are still in existence today. However, Solomon didn't force the Israelites to work as slaves. Instead, they became warriors, his servants, his leaders, his officers, and those in charge of his chariots and cavalry. These were the chief officers over Solomon's work. 550 had charge of the people who did the work. When Pharaoh's daughter went up from David's city to the palace he had built for her, Solomon built the step structure. 3 times a year, Solomon would offer entirely burnt offerings and well-being sacrifices on the altar that he had built for the Lord. Along with this, he would burn incense to the Lord, In this way, he completed the temple. King Solomon built a fleet near Eloth in Zion Geber, on the coast of Reed Sea in the land of Edom. He then sent expert sailors on the fleet along with Solomon's workers. They went to Ophir for 420 kikars of gold, which they brought back to King Solomon.